So we were discussing over here that through the work of the Yid, through his Sarusa de Latato, so there is the regular avoda. The regular avoda is in where you use your inner koiches. That would be the intellect, the emotions. And then there is a higher level of connection in which you go beyond your vessel. That's the level of b'chol moedecho, more than you can contain. That's beyond the vessels that are able to understand and grasp emotion. That's called rotzen. When you practice and you turn to Hashem with the level of desire, you bring down from the soidev as well, you bring down from the rotzen. But the question is, how does a person reach that level to arouse the level of rotzen in his soul, that which is not part, it's not counted among the 10 spheres of the soul, which is the level of beyond all you've got, addition to your 10 powers of the soul. Beyond that, how do you reach to that level of me'idecha? How do you go to that higher level? That is through arousal of mercy. You want to bring about Hashem's mercy on you to help you reach in the deeper level beyond your regular soul, but going beyond the soul. Shehu, that level of rachamim, shu midose shel Yaakov, that is the measure of Yaakov. Avraham is chesed, Yitzchak is gevura, and Yaakov is rachamim. That's tiferes, that's compassion. Shenikra, that is called nachlo b'li mitzorim. It's an inheritance. It's a land that has no boundaries. Chesed, the Gemara says that not like Avram and not like Yitzchak, but like Yaakov. By Avram and Yitzchak, the Eibishter promised them, but everything it had a limit. Yaakov, the Eibishter gave him a nachlo b'li mitzorim. There is no limitation, there's no boundaries there. So, in order to get to the deepest level of your soul, which is beyond the Eser Spheres, you need to bring in the level of compassion, which has no limits. It can reach into the highest level, the deepest hidden chambers, more than the usual. This is why we introduce in the blessing of Yotzer Oir that comes before the Shema, we say, Barachamecho harabim rachem aleinu. With your great compassion, have compassion on us. Why do we say that? La'oire rachamim rabim al haneshama sheyorda me'igra ramachulu. To arouse great compassion on the soul that had descended from Igra Rama, means this high rooftop. It went all the way from the rooftop, from a very high place, and has been brought into the body, as he said before, into the Mishra, the Chivya, into the skin of the serpent, meaning it's come down in the body with all the challenges. So there's a tremendous pity, there's a tremendous compassion. And that's by davening before the Shema, we're bringing out and arousing that compassion. Now, here it seems like compassion is only to the soul that has come down into this world. It's a tremendous descent. We understand that there's something to feel bad for the soul. But he says that's not only for the soul which came down into this world. Be'emes, the truth is that Bechinas Rachamim Rabim Shayich Gam Alil Mesilyonim, that this level of great compassion would also apply to the upper worlds. They're high worlds, but there is still a great compassion of them. It says about when Hashem separated the two waters, he made the rakia, and he's vayavdil ben mayim lamayim. He's separated between the waters that we have down below and the waters that are up above. So it says that mayim tachtoinim boichin anon non lemehavi kodamalka. The lower waters were crying and they were saying, we want to be before our king. They wanted to be in the Elyonim. So that means that it's a great compassion for them too, even though they are on a higher level, they're in the upper worlds, and yet they're not like the higher worlds, which is even the Mayim Elyonim. And it even applies to have compassion on the upper level of Gan Eden. Why? Mishum shuhurak ziva orachul, because it's merely a ray and a shine. That's why we call this an inheritance that has no boundaries. Kivon sheshayir b'chinazu gam al yoser al yonim. Since that this level applies even to the most upper worlds. So once we are able to employ the rachamim, the measure of compassion, through the arousal of compassion, then you can reach and you can come to the level and the step of B'chol Meidach. As the pasuk says, eschem al kanfei neshorim va'ovi eschem eloi. So the pasuk says, I raised you on the wings of eagle and I brought you to me. So he's going to explain that a nesher is considered compassionable for his youngs. It says kinesher yoir kinoi. It doesn't bring down the pasuk here, but that's known. So he says that I raise you through the wings of the eagle. The wings of the eagle represent the level of rachamim rabim, and that's why I bring it to you. Shebechinas nesher hu is oirus rachamim. The level of nesher is an arousal of compassion. Through that, va'ovi eschem eloi mamish. I bring you to me, to Hashem mamish. Lemhusei va'atzmusei yizbarech, to the essence and to what Hashem blessed is. You bring him all the ways eloi, through the compassion. V'zeu gamkin inyan, this is also the idea, the pasuk says, derech hanesher b'shamayim. What is the path of the eagle? The path of the eagle is in the heaven. The pasuk says in Mishlei that the various different drachim. So here, what does it mean that the path of the eagle is in the heavens? It means that in order to gain in the heavens, to get to the heavens, you have to use the path of the nesher, which is the path of rachamim. As it's going to be explained, the bechinas b'chol meidecha, the level of b'chol meidecha, which is v'rotzin ha'elyon b'chol me'idecha, and to get this supreme rotzin, nikra shamayim, that is called shamayim. So you want to get to shamayim, you have to go on the path of the nesher lagia l'vchinazu. In order to reach to that level, zehu derech hanesher, this is the path of the eagle, the path of rachamim. Kav ha'emtzoyi nikra b'riyach hatichoin, the middle line, the level of rachamim, that's Yaakov. The middle, Chesed to the right, Avraham, Gevurah to the left, Yitzchak, and the middle is the level of Tiferes, the level of Rachamim, which is called the Briach Haticha in Shema Briach. It is the middle pole, as in the Mishkan, they had poles for each one of the side walls, and the middle one circled, and it went from one side to the other one. So it's called the Briach Haticha Shemavriyach min hakotzel yoinen, that goes through from the upper end, the level of Sevu Klam Mevarotzen Elyon, until the bottom edge. But there he explains the pasuk, raise lemishpechoisom, you'll raise lebeis havoisom, through the families, means to count them, but it means it'll be raised. So he explains in the Mamer the pirush lemishpechoisom. So who are the families? Hainu ayin nefesh yetze Yerech Yaakov. Those are the 70 souls that come from Yaakov. So you see, it's all related to Yaakov, the level of Rachamim. How do you get to this? Legulgeloiso. That's in Ayin Nefesh Yerech Yaakov. Shu Hakoil Bechinas Rachamim. That's all the level of Rachamim. Shal Yidei Zeh, through this level of compassion, Yavoyu Legulgeloisom. Then they will come to the level of Likul Geloisom, to the level of Skol, level of Makif, which is the level of Rotzin HaElyon, as known. There it says Tochazi. We had it before also, before I didn't know what the Rosh Tevis is, but that's the way the Zohar always starts off. Starts off with Tochazi, come see. Like in the Gemara, we say Toshma. Over here, we say Tochazi. It says like this, come and see. Hashamayim Kisi. It says the Shamayim is Kisi. Do Rokia. This is the Rokia. The Yaakov Shori Bey. That's where Yaakov rests, in the Rokia. Does it mean Pirush? Why is Yaakov Shari? Hey, Midas Rachamim, the Bechinas Yaakov. Through the level of Rachamim of Yaakov, Yuchalove Lebechinas Hashamayim Kisi, he can come to the level of Shamayim Kisi. So how do you get to Shamayim Kisi? Through Yaakov. That's why Yaakov, that's why it's through the level of Yaakov. Zehu. And this is also the meaning of the pasuk. It says, "Miyale lona hashamayim." Who can go up to the Shemayim? So, in other words, you go up to the Shemayim. Or we say, "Kikorev elecha adavor." The pasuk continues that it is close to you. How do you go up to the Shemayim? And we said that the Shemayim, this is the level that we're talking about, the Rotzin HaElyon. We're talking about the level of B'chol Me'edecha. How do you get up to Shemayim? That's very close to you. I know this is through the level of compassion we said before. That's why our sages of blessed memory say, the image, the shape of Yaakov is engraved under the throne of honor. That's the level of Kisa Kovet, is the level the Shemaim is Kisi. So this shows you all that Shemayim relates, connected to Yaakov, connected to the Midas Harachim. So that is the level in which, in Shemayim, in the Ratzon Elyon. What about by the person? This level, the higher level, after B'chol Levavcha B'chol Nafshecha, we have the level of B'chol Me'idecha, which is B'chinas Shuva Ilah, which is the level of upper level of Tshuva, Nikra B'chinas Shemayim. That's called Shemayim. By the person, when you tap in beyond, and you reach the level to Tshuva Ilah, that's called the level of Shemayim. Because that level comes from the level of Yechida in the soul. Because that is a level of a surrounding oil. The three lower levels of the neshama, they can dress up in the kelim. They're not makib, they're urbi kelim. As opposed to the two levels of the neshama of chaya yechida, they don't dress up in the kelim. They remain in a level of makib. V'hainu, and that is, what is the level of chaya and yechida versus the level of naran? Neshama, the level of neshama, when we say nefesh ruach neshama, the level of neshama is bina. That's the level of bina. Shehi haseichel hamusag hamuva. That's the intellect which is grasped and understood. V'hu aim haboni, and that is the mother of the children, which means that the intellect creates and gives birth to the emotion. So that's all in the level of neshama, the level of bina. That's the mother of the children. They are born from the bina knowledge. That's in the level of ishtalshlus, level of neshama of the soul. Avala chokhma, but the level of chokhma in the soul, he koyach ma. Chokhma is made up of the word koyach ma. What kind of a power? Which is habitul shalamaylo mahaseichel or hamusrik movement. That's the subjugation which is beyond the intellect that is grasped and understood. It's not bina. It's not the aim habonim. It's not shach. It's a level of higher than seichel. As written in Sefer Shel Beinanim, Seif Parsha Yudches, Ubegeres HaKodesh Siman Dalet. And Lachein, that's why we call it Shemayim, we call it Makif, because Lachein Nikra Makif. That's why we call it Makif, because it's beyond the intellect that is understood. Ubechinas Chaya, that's the level of Chaya, as the Pasuk says, V'chochma Techaya. That Chochma is Machaya. So that's the level of Chaya. What's the level of Yechida? The level of Chaya, that's the level of Chochma. But the level of Yechida is also higher than Chochma. V'nikra'u, and they're called Shamayim, Ushmei HaShamayim. We call it the sky and the sky of the sky. So just the level of Chaya, that is the level of Shemayim. Level of Yechida, that's Shmei Shemayim. So the reason explained now, why do we call the level of B'chol Moedecha the level of Shemayim? Because it's an Makif, because it's a light that surrounds you. It's not caught inside. It's from the level of Chokhmah, the level of higher than Chokhmah in the person's soul, and that's why it's called Shemayim. V'oy tam shebchinas shuva ilo b'chol meidecha nikra shamayim. And there's another reason why shuva ilo, which is b'chol meidecha, why we call it shamayim. D'ine isa b'sefer yitziros sholish imois aleph mem shin. There is in the book of Yitzira, he talks about the different letters. There's actually a section called Emesh. The letter explains the level of Eish and Mayim. And the Shin, that represents the level of Ruach. So he says there is Sholish that we have Ba'olam in the world. You have Ruach, the wind, and you have Mayim, water, and Eish and fire. So Shamayim Nivru Tchila Me'eish. The Shamayim first is created from fire. The Eretz and the earth Nivras Mimayim. That comes from water. The Avir Nivra Meruach Machriya Beintaim. And the ear, so you have fire, water, and ear. Eish, Mayim, and Ruach. And the ear comes from Ruach, which is in between, Machri Beintaim, between the Eish and the Mayim. V'chein isosham gimul b'chinas eilu b'nefesh. We also have these three levels in the soul. You have the Rosh Nivra Me'eish, the head comes from fire, etc. Mavur b'mokem achar b'dibur ha'maschil atem nitzovim u'shar duchta, and other places, B'inyan of Diri explains the pasuk Havaya likecha ish oichlohu, that Hashem likecha is like a consuming fire. Why are we equating Hashem to a fire? Shuhu b'chinas histalkus. It is a level of removal. The fire is constantly wants to leave, wants to go away, to leave, remove behind you. And what is the reason for that? Because there is no comparison to Hashem. It always wants to go up because there is no really nothing else that can compare to Hashem. Kigam Atzilus hu hashpala, because even the level of Atzilus, the world of Atzilus, is also a lowering level. It's a degrading Miloshen, because that comes from the language Vayetzal min haruach. He's separated from the spirit, which means bring it down, to lower. It's a lowering. V'nikra Adam Dasiya, and that is called, even Atzilus is called the Adam of Asiya in the general world. Valkain, that's why do we call it Eish? That's why the infinite light is in a way of Histalkus. It wants to go up to its source because it's a separation and a lowering from its source. And that is the, possibly say Kail Elyon, the supreme Kail, because he is separated, and therefore the Eish, the worlds, all of the created beings want to go up to the Mokkah. This also creates in the soul the level of Eish, which is the kolel, the Milo, that is to be included above, as we say, Neir Havaya Nishmas Odom. What is the lamp of Hashem? The soul of man is like a lamp of Hashem. It wants to go up. Knesset Yisrael Nikro Isha Oila. Isha Oila L'Reich Nechayach. Isha Oila, which is Isha is the words Eish Hashem. Isha, the fire is Isha, is Eish Hashem Chulu. So you have the Knesset Yisrael is an Eish of Hashem, but Isha Oila Lerech Nechoich. Oila, V'gam Oila Kishal Heves Ha'oila Me'eleho. And it goes up like a flame that goes up on its own. So that's the other reason why we call this level Shamayim, Shehem Me'esh, because this is from the fire. But it says in Sefer Yitzira that the Rosh Nivra Me'esh, that seems the Rosh comes from Eish, but not generally the person, is Ki Iker Harotzin Hu Berosh. The main level of the Rotzin is in the head. Ki Meshikosu V'hoyo al mitzchoy tomid lerotzin. Pasuk talks about the tzitz over there, that the should be on his head constantly lerotzin. So that is the idea, that the rotzin is on the metzach, on the forehead, which is galgalto the chafya al moicha. That is the skull or the ball, the galgal that hovers around the about the mind. Which calls with the Ramaskil. Ani avay lekechem asher etzeisi eschem eretz Mitzrayim. V'hinei shamayim va'oretz heim ma uban. We have the two letters, the two names of the name of Hashem, the various, there's more than two names, four names, but we have the equal, the Shem Hashem, which comes to the amount of 45. That's called the Shem Ma. Then you have the Shem Hashem, which comes to the level of Ban, which is 52. Depending how you do the Yud, K, Vav, K, how you fill it out, you'll get the different numbers, either 45 or 52. So these names of Hashem, when they're added up that way, have different functions. There is a function of, as we say, Rotzei V'shoiv, there's a function of running to Hashem, B'mata l'maylo, and there's a function of Shuv, to bringing Hashem down l'mata. The Shem Ma is the level of Rotzei. The Shem Ban is the Hamshocha. In the Shamayim v'Oretz, the Shamayim and Oretz heim ma'uban. They are the level of Banuban. V'hainu, k'meshakos b'mokim achar, as written elsewhere, the Rotzei v'shuv shebechol olam, that running and the return that are in each world, heim b'chinas ma'uban. They are the level of ma'uban. Harotzei nimshach m'shem ma. The running comes from the level of Ma, the Shem Ma, which is a level of bittul, subjugation. To be subjugated and included in the Ein Sof. The return comes from the level of Ban. And this is the idea of Ha'oretz Adon Ragloi, the Adon Ragloi, that's the Shuv. Hashem, as will be explained later on, Mitzvah Hashem. And this is what the pasuk says: Yikore el hashamayim imal ve'el ha'oretz lo din imay. The din imay will call to the sky above and to the earth below and to the earth to judgment with him. Mamer Razal b'Sanhedrin Reish Perik Chelik, that Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis. So they say over there in the Gemara in Sanhedrin that El Hashamayim Me'al Zu HaNeshama. He'll call for judgment. Shemayim Me'al, that's for the soul, called the soul. It says Oretz Zeh Haguf. That's the body. It will call for judgment both the soul and the body. Vayikra Parsha Dalet. V'yesh lefarish b'zeh oid. Pima Shekos can explain further. So over here, you see that the Shemaim and Oretz is the Neshama and the Guf, the Neshama being the Shemaim, the Oretz being the body. Yes, b'zeh oid. Further explain, Pima Shekos b'Rabbi Seif Parshas Hazinu HaShemayim. So over there it says, Davar Achar, another explanation. Loma l'Shemayim v'la'Oretz. Why is Zinu Shemayim v'Oretz? Why to Shemayim v'Oretz? So Beheni Yideya says, nafshi olechas. I don't know where my soul is going to. Im l'Shemayim, im la'Oretz. Is it going to the Shemayim or to the ground? Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Mi Yideya. Kulo. Seemingly, this is surprising. Moshe Rabbeinu alav hasholem shemo chaz v'shol b'oretz, that he should be questioning and doubt, maybe going to the ground. Over there it says, Tlas nishmosin inun chulu. There are three souls. Ad ki gufa the ihu mono l'nishmoso. There's the three souls, the body which is a garment for the neshama. And the intent is through the union of Zav and Nukva, the male and the female, come down two levels in the son Shachim Beis Bechinas by Neshama, come down two levels in the Neshama. Ki Zo hu sof olamos ha'in sof. Zo is the end of the worlds of the Ein Sof. As it says with regards to the cherubs, on one hand, on one extreme is one kruv. And through there it comes from Arich Ampin and Atik till the Ein Sof. And so that's the level of Zoh. So on one hand, you have the Zoh, which is a kotze, which is an end from all the ways to the top, from Ein Sof, Arich Ampin. On the other hand, Vahanukva, Hisherish the Biyah. And the Nukva, Malchus, is the root of Yahanikra Gufa, which is called Guf. The soul which is born from this union of Zov and Nukva, is included of these two levels, both the level of Zov and the level of Malchus. V'hainu inyan ma'uban, which is the idea of ma'uban shehem Zov and Nukva. That's Zov and Nukva. There's the ma'uban. Hanikra Shemayim v'Oretz, which is called Shemayim v'Oretz. V'zeu sha'neshama yesh bo gam kein b'chinas Shemayim v'Oretz. And this is what we say, the idea that neshama also has the level of Shemayim v'Oretz, which means v'hainu b'chinas ma'uban. That's the level of ma'uban. Oy makifim upnimim, or we call it the surrounding powers, surrounding the soul and the inner. Or we called it Yechida and Chaya, and the Nefesh Ruach Neshama. Yechida Chaya the Makifim, and the Nefesh Ruach Neshama Chuluk. Asher Bechinas Nefesh Ruach Neshama Nikra Guf L'Kabe Chaya Yechida. That is called, also, it's called like a body. Because they're a lower level, they're called like a body to the level of Chaya Yechida. V'hinei, Okay, so והנה יש נשמות עליונות שעיקר הנשמה מזו הנקרא שמיים וקצת מהמלכות הנקרא ארץ. There are some souls that mainly they are from Shamayim. Mainly they're from the higher level. They have a little bit of Malchus, is called the Oretz. And there's the other way. There's some that are mainly Oretz and a little bit of Shamayim. Kosuv, the Migdash Melech Bereshis Daf Lamed Zayin Omed Beis. And therefore, explaining now, and this was the humility of Moshe. He wasn't sure from which of these two levels is the main of his soul. But the truth is that the root of his neshama is higher and higher. Kitzer. In order to draw down the additional light of above, that is davke by bringing up the feminine word of in a way of rotzen alei b'chol me'idecha. To when you do with all your me'idecha, you bring down that level of rotzen elyon. Shazo inyan. This is the idea of b'mokim shebal tshuva imdim, that where bal tshuva stand, even tzaddikim can't stand. You get the higher level. V'ayim asher kosu b'dibur hamaschil v'yeshev Yaakov, or b'dibur hamaschil mimona be'inyan af asisif, the idea of af asisif, and b'dibur hamaschil al libeir, the mind al libeir. Be'inyan b'chol nafshecho, the idea b'chol nafshecho, that's eses shviras shebenefesh, that's the 10 shviras nefesh. Or b'chol me'idecho, and what's b'chol me'idecho? That's rotzen. That's the level of rotzen, yichida. So how do we get to that level? Let's get the higher level. So you have the b'chol nafshecho and b'chol me'idecho. But level of b'china zu, zeu al yidei rachamim. You come through the level of rachamim. And this is also derech hanesher b'shamayim, that you get through the level of the nesher, you get to the shamayim. Ki b'chinas zu di yichida nikra shamayim. That level of yichida is called shamayim. It's a level of makif. It's like we say, sulam mutzabaris magia shamayim. Shamayim is me'esh. Shamayim from esh, rotzei. And Ma is Eretz, which is level of Shuv, level of Bad, and brings down the Posik, Yikro El Hashamayim Me'ol. Okay, we'll leave it over here for now. And we'll be Mamshik.